Thank you, Chip. What a great opening by Thak. So sincere thanks to Thak. Pleasure to hear the overall SAP strategy and how partnering actually fits into this. And it's one of the richest ecosystems on the planet. And that's because the care and feed that leaders like Thak actually give to partners and nurture them throughout the journey with customers is why their ecosystem is growing. And the ecosystem value is approaching almost 300 billion euros. It's not just about SAP, it's about the collective revenue that the overall ecosystem is generating. So I felt it was important to kind of define what is an ecosystem at an ecosystem cloud summit like today. So there was a seminal paper from Accenture that came out last year, and they're saying ecosystem is a network. They're not saying ecosystem is my vendor, partner ecosystem. They're saying it's a network of cross-industry players who come and they work together to define, build, and execute market-creating customer and consumer solutions. And what you will find interesting in that definition, it's talking about how interesting it is to bring people with different disciplines, different competencies to innovate so that you can be faster to innovation with customers on emerging market needs. You can bring those technologies faster to bear. And not only that, you can do it at a lower cost and a lower risk. So the overall ecosystem approach wins every single time. So now that definition being established, WorkSpan is in the mission of actually helping enabling that ecosystem vision that companies like SAP, Accenture, Infosys have for working with one another to serve their end customers. So our mission as a company is to be the world's trusted ecosystem network, not just any network, but a trusted one. And we want to connect businesses with their trusted partners so that you can create value and abundance together. It's a very lofty goal. We are inspired by companies such as Ariba, SAP Ariba, of course, and Alibaba and others that have created a network that really comes together at the end of the day to create value for one another. We believe that this abundance will raise all boats together and will serve the end shared customers in a much better way. Now, if you think about ecosystems, why is it suddenly become so important? Because it's become a C-suite topic. It's become important to actually define, measure it. There are a couple of key reasons. One is if I begin to on the right-hand side, majority of sales today is actually coming directly or indirectly from partners. When I joined SAP back in 2002, 2003 timeframe, less than 10% of SAP's revenue, for example, came from the ecosystem. Fast forward to today, greater than 60% of revenue impact is actually coming from the ecosystem. And Forrester, in fact, last year did a study, and they mentioned that 75% of all tech revenue is partner driven. Whether it is co-sell, where your sales team is selling along with a partner team, typical in GSI motions, or is it indirect through resellers or through OEM? Pick any partnering model, marketplace. 75% of revenue is actually driven through partners today. So imagine the amount of exponential growth that's waiting to be systemized, to be made predictable through an ecosystem cloud. So number one, majority of sales today is driven through the ecosystem. So all of us who are revenue focused, we need to pay attention to this. The second thing that came up is in the last few years, just as finance has had their day in the cloud, if you will, long time ago, with SAP systemizing financial processes in the company. And then fast forward to around 2000, Salesforce.com started to standardize around how sales teams actually manage their business. And now if you look at marketing with companies like Marketo and Eloqua, they systemized how marketing and CMOs actually kept track of their revenue marketing contributing to revenue. Now we feel is a time where ecosystem leaders are actually systemizing their organization. They're making their revenue more predictable. They're actually hitting those goals. And as a result of this, C-suite has taken note of this and they have empowered their partner organizations to a lot more. So we have seen a number of partner leaders move to the C-suite. We have seen a number of partner leaders being given significant revenue responsibilities and actually driving this. And all of this is contributing to this profession becoming more science as well as art combined. Just as in marketing, we had more of the art before, and then the art and the science getting combined in terms of being measured and impactful in that relationship, we are now seeing ecosystem leaders actually get organized and recognized for their contribution to their ecosystem. All of this is actually pointing to one key need in the industry right now. We need a stack for ecosystem leaders. We need an ecosystem cloud. Partnering needs its own management system so that you can become more predictable, more reliable to the C-suite in responding to what your revenue contribution is going to be. So that's the ecosystem cloud. Now, if you look at the ecosystem cloud as a key capability, it is in a very important digital muscle that all of us will need as we go through not only the upside of the last few years, but as we look into a downturn, we will need a digital partnering muscle. So I wanted to make 6 trend observations to this group today. This is not going to be a WorkSpan pitch, so I'm going to just make 6 trend observations and just 3 recommendations to bring it home. So first observation, this actually came from our interactions with Tom Sturmer at Accenture. He's the managing director for the ecosystem group there. And he said something that fundamentally has shaped my view as well, which is, there's this transition from being an ecosystem to an ecosystem. And he calls this living in a Copernican moment. Now imagine an ecosystem before where a company says, I have a large partner network, I have a 75, 80,000 partner network out there, and it revolves around the vendor, it revolves around the company. Just as we thought, before Copernicus, that the Earth was the center and all the planets and the sun revolved around the Earth, right? But that's not true, we all know that. The sun is the customer. In this case, the end customer, the end consumer is the center of the attention, center of the ecosystem. And in that case, all companies are figuring out what their strategy is to give maximum innovation, lowest cost, lowest risk solution to that shared end customer. So I believe in ecosystems, and in our profession today, powering ecosystem motions, whether they are co-sell, sell-through, OEM, or channel, we are living in this Copernican moment. We are realizing that it's not really about the partner portal that one company can have. It's really about how multiple companies can work with one another in a connected way, which is going to give more value to the end customer. So if you are in a meeting, my request to you is evaluating all your go-to-market strategies. Think about this point. Is it really benefiting the end customer directly somewhere? Is this portal investment actually going in the right direction? Or do we need a multi-partner ecosystem format where we can actually drive that shared customer benefit in a much more agile and faster way? That's observation number 1. Second one is we have, and Thak covered this a little bit, as you looked at the SAP expansion he was talking about in terms of revenue contribution from the partner network. It's not just one type of partners. There are many, many types of partners. And we have so far typecasted partnering. You are X partner type and that tier, gold, silver, and bronze, and so on and so forth. And we have kept alliance teams separate from channel teams, often organizationally. We've kept goals different. You bring direct revenue and hence you have, harder goals. You bring influence revenue and hence you have softer goals. You know what? All of that is going away. So the second big trend here is this multi-partner collaboration I'm seeing, where the types and tiers go away. The idea is that channels and alliances organization are coming together. And there are a number of beautiful examples out there, whether it's Intel Amplify, where Intel and VMware come together and work with a channel, whether it's Cisco ACES program, where Cisco works with its alliances and then distributes through the channel network, or whether it's SAP, bringing together, if you look at the S4 Move program, for example, it's not just the co-sell side of the house, it's the co-sell and the sell-through coming together to drive a massive product innovation into the market. So trend number 2 is if you're still thinking channels and alliances, it's about time. Give that up. This year and going forward, it's going to be about the ecosystem. And eventually how the business transaction is done does not matter. It's about how your team and the ecosystem works to help the end customer get the right outcome. Trend number 3, this is the long tail of partnering. Often companies have figured out that if we If they set up a vendor portal or a partner portal, that's all partners need. And then you are set up for scale. And there's a long tail of resellers or channel sell-through partners that one works with. And once you enable that, everybody works the same way, right? Now, the tyranny of the long tail is that it gives the lowest common denominator solution to everybody, including at the head of the tail, if you will. So your most important partners who bring in the most significant revenue have not benefited from the digitization, the connectedness, the collaborative capabilities that we all experience in our personal lives. How many of you do business on LinkedIn or Twitter? You reach out, you connect, you establish, and we are borrowing, social tools to do our connectivity, to do our collaboration across companies. Shame on us. We are using Excel and Google Sheets to send an entire pipeline, which may be insecure to our partner. Shame on us, because we are collaborating in a way that our current tools and technologies don't serve, because they're designed to serve the long tail. So I would say the trend number 3 that's happening in partnering is, if you're investing more to developing the long tail, you're probably investing in the wrong place. You have to develop tighter, deeper, collaborative, maybe fewer relationships, but relationships that really stand the test of time, relationships that really add significant revenue and contribution to your pipeline, to your revenue, and to end customers. So this trend will focus a lot more on partners at the head of the tail, at the head of this curve rather than at the tail of this curve. Fourth one, Thak mentioned this as well, and we'll hear a little bit about this from Tom later in the presentation. Marketplaces have evolved as a partnering mechanism. And what we are seeing is ecosystems are getting embedded in marketplaces as well. So not only ecosystems in direct sales with co-selling, not only ecosystems in channel with alliances and channel coming together, but also in digital tools like marketplaces. We are seeing how ecosystems are actually coming in to drive more impact, both to revenue and to customers. And the reason is enterprises don't buy like consumers do on marketplace. So we all have an Amazon account, for example, where we buy books and shoes and everything pretty much. But no enterprise wakes up in the morning and says, hey, let me go to your portal there and go to your marketplace and actually buy a $100,000 application today morning. What really happens is they express a need, and then you have to integrate your network into it, which is your ecosystem. Your partner actually takes that on, and that ecosystem becomes a lead generation channel for them, a way to actually reach out through your mechanism, a larger installed base of customers who are inclined one way or the other. But this shows the power that if you can connect through the marketplace, but consume and actually sell through or sell to the channel through your other mechanisms, you combine the power of a marketplace with a channel, for example, or with an OEM model, for example. And I'm seeing this as a big trend. There was a lot of investment going in marketplaces. Now I'm seeing investment being extended by adding an ecosystem component to the marketplace, not just a direct to consumer or direct to customer component. So that's the fourth trend that I'm seeing. Fifth, this is co-innovation of solutions. A lot of go-to-market motions have been typically, to impact in a very, very short period of time, what is called within the quarter kind of impact. Because we all know that, making immediate revenue impact is really important. But this is something that has really surprised us here at WorkSpan. Number of companies actually developing joint solutions. A great example is HPE and Accenture coming together to drive what is called Accenture optimized, hybrid cloud, AOPC, for example. And this could include not only Accenture and HPE, but also companies like SAP, and then hyperscale customers where there might be a hybrid cloud environment, for example, right? And they are defining the architecture for this thing. And that architecture is a joint solution that a customer can buy at a lower risk and a lower cost and a faster delivery, because the repeatable motion of joint solutioning has been defined. So joint solutioning, especially taking care of ideas that are coming from the partners themselves, not inside out ideas, but outside in, it is something that has surprised us here at WorkSpan, and we are seeing a number of companies, whether you're a platform company, a GSI, or an ISV, or a hyperscaler, we are seeing ecosystem leaders really focus on what is the solution. Where do we put our product and their services, or our product with their APIs, or our product with their cloud? What's that joint solution architecture going to look like? Where is it formalized? Do we have a process to deal with this? Because think about this, every couple of weeks, we now see powerful technical innovations come up, and those technical innovations need to be combined, whether it's IoT, cloud, mobile, containers, hybrid, hyper-converged. All these topics have created many, many solutions. And these solutions need a way in which that, these solutions need to be built in a way that is predictable, is reliable. So this is a key muscle that we are seeing. The sixth big trend is honestly a neutral ecosystem cloud. The time in the sun for CRM, where your direct sales teams are working, has been there and will be there for a long time. But in reality, what has come in is this whole neutral cloud, neutral CRM, if you will, where companies across a trusted network can collaborate on joint opportunities. You can collaborate to co-sell, you can collaborate on an OEM opportunity, you can collaborate on a sell-through opportunity, it doesn't matter. But can there be a shared system of record, somewhere where there are co-equal security and rights? Just to give you one example, on a network like this, any company, for example, SAP, can ensure its security on the data model by its employees coming in via secure single sign-on, SSO. And so can another company. Let's pick Infosys as an example. They can enforce their single sign-on model, and their employees can log in securely. So that way, everybody's verified through their work identity and authorized to act on behalf of their company to work with one another. That's security by design in a network, where on a neutral place. Now imagine that every company on this network, if they can define what they share with a partner and what they hide from a partner as a policy. No partnership is 100% transparent. This translucency can be enabled on a cloud like this, where through policy you can lock down fields from your CRM and only share what you want to share with your partner network in the interest of driving the customer innovation, in the interest of driving the customer revenue opportunity. So there's this need for a neutral ecosystem cloud to play the coordinator, to be the the trusted enabler of this network, so that companies can actually do their business really well. So we've seen this in banking, for example, where if different financial institutions can work with one another, the cost of a transaction drops down to a hundredth of a penny, if you will. So imagine if we can do this in the tech industry. This thing will be very, very transformative to our revenue goals, especially in the times that we live in. So that's trend number 6. So those were the 6 trends, and these are very, very powerful trends in ecosystems that we have seen. This shows you the power of actually taking an ecosystem, systemizing it, making it measurable and predictable, and then unleashing your innovation, your potential to the larger community so that you can benefit end customers. Now, we also live in interesting times. As we've seen here, with the coronavirus, COVID-19 situation where, partnering will be challenged. Partnering will be challenged because you won't be able to get on flights, meet other partners at conferences, do the partner day before your customer day, for example. Partnering is a lot about physical meetings and handshakes and QBRs. All that will get challenged. And as this gets challenged, where the physical is going to get, a minor, we need to major on something, right? And this is what I'm calling the digital partnering capability. This is a muscle. It needs to be created. It needs to be, acted on. And this builds the resilience in the ecosystem, right? So if what you're doing physically can be transformed into digital methods as well, you can then supplant the physical and the digital to come together, and you can major on digital and minor on physical going forward. In fact, we have more productive meetings. We have more productive alignment if you can have a digital snapshot of your shared business. So this is a key recommendation I have for all of you. So as you look to digital tools to actually take care of your partnering activity, especially in these times, definitely look at having an ecosystem cloud. Next is we are going to see a tightening of the economy. We have seen large sectors actually shut down. And as a result, those predictions, those goals that we just did at our sales kickoff are probably no longer valid. This is time for plan B, plan C. And you have to actually, those thresholds have probably been hit. You know, if you have 20% of your customer meetings getting canceled or challenged, you know, you are living in a place where there is immense volatility. The only antidote to volatility is visibility. And having visibility, especially with your partner network, where 75% of your revenue impact is actually going to come from, you need these tighter iterations on top of this visibility, because you will have to put in place those contingency plans to still hit your goals. Because you have to hit your goals. And this contingency plans can happen because of this visibility. So that's my second recommendation. Definitely drive visibility, because interim period will be hard. You know, don't focus right away on the results or the impact or the lack thereof. First, invest in the next 2 months a capability that you can drive visibility with. So set up your whatever mechanism you need to do, set up processes by which you make things more visible, because you'll need to act on it soon. And third is this is a challenge, and it is an opportunity as well. And I hearken back to many of our shared experiences. I left SAP back in 2014 because I had a passion around ecosystems. And that really came because back in 2008, when I was the first person for the go-to-market side for HANA, leading the marketing team at SAP, we went from, in 2008, similar economic environment. The financial markets had crashed. But out of that really came an opportunity to redefine the whole market with HANA and its go-to-market, working with partners, creating appliances with the hardware partners, creating solution packages with SIs, having cloud appliances with all the cloud vendors. That was an immense opportunity to rethink what the ecosystem is. Similarly, I feel we are living in that time. I can feel it in my bones that this is also an opportunity. Now is the time. Now is the time for all our leaders to step up and say, how will we take advantage of this? What new ecosystem are we going to form? And how are we going to take this to the next level? And I leave it to your intelligence. I leave it to your passion here. And we are just the enabler of that thing as the suppliers of the ecosystem cloud. With that, let me wind my portion of the presentation, those 6 trends and those 3 recommendations. Thank you so much.
That was terrific, Amit. Thank you so much. A lot of good chatter in chat. So thanks everybody for sharing your thoughts. And again, I'll do the virtual applause.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. We do have a question. By the way, if anybody—
Thank you, Roland. I see your clap there. Tom, thank you. Appreciate that.
If anybody has a question, please click on your raise hand button, and I can open up your mic for Amit. But in the meantime, we do have a question from Andreas Muno, who says, okay, so here's the question. Beyond sales and marketing and cloud deployments, we see a necessity for deeper, more close collaboration of several partners and possibly ecosystems.
Yep.
On standardized delivery of implementation, including transformational OCM aspects to get to a sustained value creation for customers for repeat renewal in SaaS, right? Truly Copernical.
Yeah, yeah.
And so his question is, what are you seeing happening at cloud/SaaS customers?
Yes, what a terrific question. And in fact, we have seen this as well. So one, multi-partner is a reality. So if you look at, Mike Bruce is going to talk a little bit about the SAP Embrace initiative, for example. It's definitely multiple partners coming together to deliver the solution and then to renew it, actually go live and then renew it as well. It's not just a year-long transaction. We've also seen this, and Mike may touch on this. If you look at the Ariba business or the SuccessFactors business, these are cloud businesses that renew year after year. So it's very important to know who the co-sell GSI on that thing is, so that you can then work again the following year to renew that. So there are key capabilities here in understanding within the account map who you are partnered with, so that you can not only co-sell together, but also renew and service the customer over a long period of time. And that's just on one aspect of looking at some certain cloud applications. If you look at new markets around IoT or 5G, I would say that 2 partners are not enough, and you have to build a muscle around 4 or more partners, for example. Especially with every deal that I'm seeing, you're adding a security partner, a consulting partner, along with an ISV and a cloud. It's already 4, and lack of methods where what you're describing, Andres, is not going to be tenable. It's otherwise the emails and the spreadsheets and the overload coming out of that will drown the cycle itself and make it untenable. No wonder none of these IoT projects actually end up doing well. Many IoT projects are actually challenged on the sales cycle, not on the technology. The API and the technologies have been figured out. It's really the collaboration piece that's missing to help these customers. So spot on.
Excellent. Good. Amit, thank you so much.